Question number 1 is not up on my screen anymore. Dang it. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Very fun video today. We are doing the high-end makeup tag. I recently saw Andrea Montiliano upload this video, and I believe it was originally created by Jenna Froese and Gooch, both of whom I love, and I think that their inspiration originally came from Jen Phelps, who did the drugstore tag video last year. I'm pretty sure I did that one as well. I will link all of their channels and videos down below. I love a good tag video, and I think this one is extra fun for me because, in case you are new here, I am much more of a drugstore girl. I definitely try out a lot more drugstore makeup than I do high-end makeup, but when I do try out high-end makeup, I am very thoughtful in the things that I buy and pick up most of the time. So I research things a lot. I generally know kind of what I'm going to like before I buy it. So the stuff that I have is a little bit more curated, I feel. I don't know, I feel like you could take that two ways. I haven't tried out as much as other more experienced people have, but I also have really good stuff. I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys are excited about it. Before we get into it, I wanna welcome any new visitors to my channel. Hope you enjoy this video. If you do, I hope that you'll consider subscribing before you leave. Make sure your notifications are turned on. And with that out of the way, let's get right into it. Question number 1 is, if you could only use one high-end makeup brand, what would it be? This is kind of a challenging question for me because usually when I do try out high-end makeup, I only buy one or two things. So I have a lot of brands that I only have one or two things from, but there is one brand that I've tried out quite a bit from and I am super happy with them. So I'm gonna go with Persona Cosmetics. I love Persona. I think they have such good makeup. They don't have the selection that a lot of other brands have, but the stuff that they do have is always perfectly done. Their blushes, which I have right here, they're very simple colors. They actually have one more color that I've yet to pick up, but they're perfect. The formula is great. They're the perfect shades for me. Their glosses are among some of my very favorites. Their liquid lipsticks. They make my very favorite red liquid lipstick, the shade Phoenix. Oh my gosh. That is my perfect shade of orangey red. I absolutely love it. Their eyeshadows, as I've mentioned many times, are among the best formula that I've ever tried. They make really great liners. I've yet to try their lip liners. I have heard really good things about their lip liners as well. I probably tried out more types of products across the board from Persona than any other high-end brand, and I have never been disappointed in their products. Next up is, what is the most underrated high-end makeup brand? Now, I'm going to take this one in kind of a different direction because, as I mentioned, there's not a lot of brands that I've tried enough things out from them that I feel like I know them as an entire brand. So I'm going to go with the most underrated high-end makeup product. And for that, I'm going to say the Dior Forever Skin Concealer. I heard a lot of people talk about the Dior Forever Skin Foundation. I haven't heard as many people talk about this concealer, and I've been really, really impressed with this. I am typically not someone that is even really looking at the brand Dior because they're usually a little bit outside of my budget, or at least I assume they're going to be out of my budget, which is kind of what happened with this concealer. I had just assumed with it being Dior that it would be pricey, but this is actually not that expensive. I think it's about $36, but you get a lot of product inside here. I believe there's like 0.37 ounces. That is a lot. I just feel like this is pretty underrated. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, and it is a really, really good concealer. Next is, what is the most overrated high-end makeup brand? This one I'm gonna do kind of the same thing. I'm not gonna go with the brand, but I'm gonna go with a specific product. And for that, I'm gonna say the Benefit Gimme Brow. Now, I actually don't think this is bad. I am wearing this in my brows today. I did have to reapply it. I put this on about 5 or 6 hours ago, and my brows, they needed some touching up. That's kind of disappointing to me. When I pay over $20 for a tiny little brow product, I expect my brows to hold like glue. Granted, I've never really found a brow product that holds that well, but this, for just being a pretty average brow product, I have a lot of drugstore brow gels that I think work just as well. The Essence brow gel works almost just as well. I actually think the ColourPop one holds my brows in place better, and e.l.f. even has a gel that I think is pretty comparable to this one right here. And again, I do like it, but for how much hype I feel is around just the Benefit brow products in general, I wasn't as impressed with this as I thought I would be. Number 4, what is your favorite high-end makeup product under $50? This one was tricky. I have a lot of products I love. Most of the products that I actually buy are usually under $50. That's kind of my threshold. I don't like to go much above $50. That's just a little bit outside of where I'm comfortable spending. But the ones that first came to mind for me are the Natasha Denona mini palettes. I have 3 of them right here. I know I feel like I've been talking about these a lot recently, but for good reason. I think these are so good. I feel like they're in a budget that most people, I shouldn't say can afford, because bang for your buck, you're not going to get a lot of bang for your buck with these, but they're so good. I mean, the formula of Natasha Denona's eyeshadows are really lovely. The packaging feels very high-end and luxury. These are the type of product that if, say I have a sister or a mom or a friend that I want to get a really nice birthday gift for, but I don't have the budget to spend more than say $25, this is the perfect thing. She has a lot of good options. I actually want to pick up a couple more from her. I thought about trying, is it the gold one that has some green shades in it? And then she has a new one as well. I'm thinking about picking that one up in February. I've just been so thoroughly impressed with these. I think they're really fun little palettes. They're small, they're travel friendly, and they're especially a perfect option for someone that either has a large makeup collection and doesn't need one more entire palette that has 20 or 30 shades in a palette. These are perfect for the makeup lover, whether that be you or someone that you love. Next up is a hidden gem that no one talks about. I'm gonna go with the Milk Makeup Lip and Cheek Stick. This is a mini. It's $15 at Sephora, which I think is a really good price. I am so in love with this little thing, you guys. This is another thing I feel like I've talked a lot about recently. Made it into my year-end favorites video. I think I had mentioned it in a blush video before that, and even in my most recent blush video that went up just a couple days ago. I really love this. I think the formula is great, the size is great, it's really easy to use whether you want to use your finger or a brush or even a sponge. The color is just perfect for me. It's like a perfect neutral pink. It goes with absolutely anything. It smells nice. I know I talk about the smell every time I talk about this stuff, but I do really love the smell of this thing. And it's not something I hear anyone really talking about. I feel like the only thing from Milk that gets talked about often is their bronzer stick, which you guys know I absolutely love, but this is just as good or worth the hype as the bronzer stick, and if you are into cream and liquid blushes, which I am, I think you would love this stuff. Number 6, what is your favorite high-end foundation? I've got to go with the IT Cosmetics CC Cream in the Illumination version. I've been a long-time fan of this one. I've tried out a couple more high-end foundations this past year or so and really enjoyed those, but this has just been the longest standing favorite for me. I've been reaching for it again recently, and just was reminded of how much I love this stuff. It just works really well for my dry skin. It gives me this really attractive subtle glow, but it's not greasy. It's a very nice, creamy, hydrating foundation. It says it has anti-aging serum in it, which sounds great to me. I don't know that it actually does anything for my skin, but I do love the way this looks on my skin. It's not super long wearing, but I don't think it's bad. It gives me a good 5 to 8 hour wear time, which is pretty standard for me, especially considering I don't usually powder my foundation everywhere. I am wearing this on my skin today. I have the shade Light, which seems to be a pretty good match for me, especially in the middle of the winter. All around, I just really love this stuff. I think it is great. Next question, what product category do you tend to buy more of at the high-end price point? This one's easy. Eyeshadow palettes. I would say it'd be the same answer with drugstore makeup as well. You guys probably know, for every non-eyeshadow palette that I try out 4 or 5 eyeshadow palettes. I definitely prefer to try out eyeshadow palettes. They're kind of my favorite thing to try. Blushes are kind of creeping up, followed closely by highlighters. I've been enjoying trying out foundations and concealers a little bit more. So I feel like I'm expanding a little bit, but I still have to go with eyeshadow palettes. I feel like they'll always be my number one thing, whether that be drugstore and affordable or high-end. Number 8, what high-end brand do you think is overpriced? I think there's a lot that could go into this one, most of which I haven't tried anything from for that very reason, but there is one brand that I do really love, but I still think they're overpriced, and it's got to be Natasha Denona. There was a long stretch of time at the start of my channel that I swore to myself I would never be one of those crazy people that spent their money on Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes. Now, in my defense, I've never spent more than $65 on one of her eyeshadow palettes, which I feel like is justification. This one is one of her full sizes. It's one of my favorites, the Safari palette. This one was on sale when I bought it for 50% off, so I was very fortunate to get this $129 value palette at, I think it was like $64.50. I like to still think that I would never buy a full price Natasha Denona palette, but then 3 years ago I would have said I would never spend $65 on an eyeshadow palette, so who knows, that could change with time. But I will admit, you guys, I do really love Natasha Denona's eyeshadows. That doesn't mean I think they're worth the price. I think they are still way more expensive than I'm comfortable with, but I do really love them. Number 9 is, what is your favorite high-end limited edition product? For that, I'm going to go with the ABH Jackie Aina palette. I still really love this palette. I recently pulled this back out for a couple of days to do some looks with it and was reminded of how fantastic this palette is. I do love the ABH shadows. I love their formula. I love their packaging. And this one, I think, has both the best formula across the board. Like, every shade inside here just works so well. And the packaging of this thing, you guys, look at this. This is a showstopper, honestly. I think this is their prettiest package that they've ever done. They have a lot of contenders, a lot of pretty ones, but this thing is just kind of next level. I absolutely love it. Number 10, what is the best high-end eyeshadow formula? I still haven't made a decision, so I'm going to mention both, but I think what I'm leaning towards actually picking for this one is going to be Persona Cosmetics, and probably because the other one is a little bit more expensive that I just talked about a minute ago. We'll get to that one in a sec, but I love Persona's formula. It is fantastic. I feel like they do a good job just across the board. Their packaging's really nice. This palette right here is the old version. Actually, the one that you would buy now, her original Identity palette, would come in this packaging, but I love this packaging as well. Very simple, but very practical, nice and sleek, very sturdy. Their color setups are just so great. This original Identity palette, this is the one that I'm actually wearing on my eyes today. I have this one mostly, along with this kind of pinky shimmer shade right here on the inner part of my lid, and a little bit of this dark brown in my outer corner. I actually have a lot of shades on my eyes today. I kind of just really went crazy with these two palettes today and get very creative and experimental, but I love the look that I came up with. I never am disappointed in my eye look when I use these palettes. Her formula is just, it's the perfect mix of very pigmented but very easily blendable. Nothing ever gets muddy looking. Her shimmers are nice and reflective and brightening but smoothing at the same time. Just really great eyeshadows, and not too bad of a price. I think these are around $42 full price. But I'm going to give a little nod to Natasha Denona because I do really love the Natasha Denona formula. This formula, whereas the Persona formula is going to give you like a basic shimmer and a basic matte, the Natasha Denona formula, she has a lot of different formulas. So if you like a variety of finishes, if you like a little bit more sparkle, I won't say glitter, but sort of glittery sparkle to your eyes, you're gonna get a lot more variety in the Natasha Denona palettes. Most of them, not all of them. This one is all matte, but I also really love her mattes as well. Even in her smaller palettes, you get a decent variety of not just colors, but finishes in here. You get some like glitter toppers, some traditional shimmers, really good mattes. She just has a really good formula as well. Higher priced, which is why I'm giving the prize to Persona, but I do still really love Natasha Denona's formula. Next question, what is the worst high-end eyeshadow formula? Now this one was tricky because I actually haven't tried an eyeshadow formula from a high-end brand that I thought was bad, but I had to pick one, so I'm gonna go with Huda Beauty. Now, quick little side note, you guys probably know I love these palettes. I think they're great, but her shimmer formula in this latest release, I know I just got done talking about this in my eyeshadow video. If you did watch my eyeshadow collection video that just went up, I talked about this there. I've talked about it before, but there's something very different and kind of disappointing about some of the shimmer formula in these palettes right here that was not in these two right here. Her original shimmer formula in here, I love. This is my favorite shimmer formula from here. It's just very classic, very traditional. Some are more reflective than others, but all of them are super buttery, very creamy, very impactful. Whereas these ones they're a little bit more of like a glitter topper finish, but they kind of hard pan a little bit, which I have mentioned. They're just a little bit harder to work with. I can get them to work, so I don't think these are bad. I've even recommended these. Packaging, I know there wasn't a packaging category in the questions today. If there was, I would give it to these because I just think these are so pretty. I love them so much. Sorry, a second ago I was holding up this one. I meant to be holding up this one. This one also has good formulas. The shimmer formula in here is not the same as the one inside this one, especially these two right here, the Sand Haze and the Khaki Haze palettes. I've just had a little bit of trouble with those, which is so unfortunate because I actually think I even might prefer the color setups and the matte shades in these palettes right here. But yeah, I'd have to go with the Huda newer Haze palettes as far as eyeshadow formula. Even though overall I do love the Huda Beauty formula, just something about a few of the shades in these ones kind of missed the mark for me. Number 12, a high-end brand that you used to love but are not crazy about anymore. I feel like this might be one that might be on a lot of people's answers, whether you're doing the video or not, but I'm gonna go with MAC. Now, I do kind of feel like MAC is kind of re-entering the makeup world. They've had some really good releases recently, and I do still like their older makeup releases. I have quite a few of their lipsticks. I do still really love these, but they're definitely a brand that was once, I mean, they were back in like the early 2000s, even in the 90s. I mean, MAC was the epitome of high-end makeup. They were one of the only high-end makeup brands back in the day. And then I think as makeup really took off, YouTube makeup kind of became a thing. That's when I feel like they kind of got buried. And I will even admit for myself, I have not really been interested. I know for a while they were doing releases with different influencers or celebrities. They would have releases come out. I never really got into those very much. I do still love some of their original releases. I do really love their new Glow Play blushes, but other than that, I just have not maintained my interest level for MAC. They used to be a brand that was kind of beyond what I could afford, and then once I could afford higher end makeup, I just kind of overlooked them. Number 13, a high-end product that you didn't expect to like, but totally wowed you. I have two. I have a tie for this one. I know that's kind of cheating again, you guys. I seem to always do this in these tag videos. I'm very indecisive. Let's start off with this one right here. This is the Benefic Cheek Leaders palette. I've been talking about this a lot recently. I tried this out in the early fall. I purchased this entire palette because I really wanted to try out the Cookie Highlight. And while I did expect to like the Cookie Highlight, I was very surprised at how much I ended up loving everything else in here. I'd never tried out the Hoola bronzer before this last fall. It's a classic one that for whatever reason I just was never interested in, but I am super impressed with this thing. I am wearing this on my cheeks today. I do have an Hourglass blush on because they were actually in one of my categories and then I swapped them out for something else. But I do love the blushes in here as well. But yeah, this really surprised me. I was never really one to be interested in Benefit products all that much, but I haven't stopped reaching for this. In the last 3 months, this is constantly making a reappearance in my daily makeup routine. But in close second to that one, I'd have to go with the Thrive Cosmetics mascara. My sister actually got this for me for my birthday after she fell in love with it. I've heard people talking about this for a long time. I'm usually just not one to be like, when someone talks about a mascara, I'm not one to be like, ooh, I love trying out mascaras. Let me run out and try that. I'm just not one to get very excited about mascaras, but I've been very excited about this mascara. As far as mascaras go, this thing really impressed me. The wear time, the way it looks on my lashes. I've had this one for a good, let's see, July. I got it at the end of July. So yeah, we're looking at like 7 months. Probably time to throw this thing away. I did use it again today and I'm really scraping to get some product out of here. I need to repurchase this as soon as February rolls around, right before baseball season starts. This is my baseball season mascara. It holds up so well to watery eyes. I wouldn't say it's waterproof, but it's very water resistant and so easy to remove. Just very impressed with this mascara. I think it is exceptional. Could you see me trying to think of another word for amazing? See those wheels turning, going through my internal thesaurus. Last on the list is my favorite high-end eyeshadow palette right now. I think I'm going to go with the Natasha Denona Glam palette. This has been my favorite. I would say overall my favorite palette is going to be the Sydney Grace palette, but that's an indie brand, so I was like, they're higher end priced, but they're not really high end. I didn't quite know where to put Sydney Grace. And this one's also a little bit newer to me, and I still love this palette, you guys. It is so good. A lot of people have been loving this, it seems. It has really good reviews, and for good reason. For this being a very boring palette, there's actually a lot of variety in here. You get a good amount of variety in deep shades, in midtones, and also in the type of lid shimmers you get. There's a lot of variety, not just in, not necessarily in color, but in the different finishes you get here. And a lot of them are very brightening and light, which is just how I like my lid shimmers to be. I love something very light and reflective on my inner corner to bring light to my very small eyes and make them look a little bit bigger, a little bit brighter. There's just something about putting a bright shade on your eyes that opens them up and is a little bit more kind of universally flattering. So this would be my favorite right now. I have had this for a couple of months, but I've still been getting a lot of use out of it. And every time I use it, I not only feel fancy, but I'm always happy with the makeup look that comes out of this. So I'm going to insert here one bonus question because I really wanted to put this product in this video today, but I just didn't know what category to put it in. So I'm going to put a bonus one here and call it the high-end makeup product that was worth the hype. And for that, I've got to go with the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bombs. I have a couple of these. A lot of them are these smaller kind of travel size, but I love these so much. They look amazing on any lipstick that I'm wearing, any lip liner. They even look really nice on their own. I love the formula of them, and I actually think these are pretty good value for being a higher end makeup product. There's a lot more product in here than you get in a typical drugstore lip gloss, so when you compare price per ounce or per gram, these are actually priced pretty closely to some of my favorite drugstore lip glosses. Alright guys, and that is it for the high-end makeup tag. I would love to hear some of your answers. Let me know if there's something that in one of these categories instantly came to your mind. Let me know what that is in the comments down below. Hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I had so much fun doing this. As much as I'm a drugstore girl and I love a good deal on makeup, I also really am attached to my high-end makeup products. There is something about really good packaging and that overall higher end appeal that can be a lot of fun. So I hope that you guys had fun watching this one. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. Any of you creators out there that do this video, feel free to tag me on Instagram. I'm gonna start posting on Instagram again very soon. Hopefully today or this week when this video goes up. So tag me if you do this video. I would love to watch it. Thank you guys again. Thanks for joining me on this full month of nothing new. Just a couple more videos to go. But that's all I have for today. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye. I thought that would be natural looking. It was not. That was a fail. Here's an idea. I've actually thought of putting poster boards up on behind where my camera is that you guys can't see, that have reminders like don't look at your viewfinder, sit up straight, like cues for myself. And then on the other side, alternative words to use for amazing, beautiful, and I know there's other phrases that I overuse.